I think too, there was a period in my life that I abhorred social media. I didn't go on social media because I felt like people were making comparisons on social media that were ruining their lives and making them miserable, like, and making them ruin relationships and like be like, they would, so and so is taking you on a vacation and and I haven't gone out and their life is so amazing and they got a new car and they got and it's like, that's not reality. Thank you. So in no way, shape, or form does social media motivate me to do anything by comparison. However, definitely there have been times where the desire to be I'm an overachiever to like the nth degree, and I think to be an overachiever you have to work a little bit from a place of comparison, like, because like you are like, okay, I gotta succeed, I gotta, and there's always that like line of where you're setting your success in that bar, and I'm sure people fall in that line, which is dangerous though, ultimately too. It is setting yourself up for misery in many ways.
I think there's a difference, especially online, between admiration and aspiration. Aspiring to be somebody that you just aren't just can't happen because you are not that person. We're all different. We all have very different scenarios. We have different hurdles to jump over. So I think it's okay to admire somebody online, maybe take aspects that, of their life that, you kind of enjoy. But to aspire to be that person is just chasing a ghost. You're never really going to get to that point because you're not that person.
I'm curious, like, I'm just really curious about this. With when you guys are like, if there's somebody that you look at, like maybe it's somebody that you might compare yourself to, if it was like your nemesis or I don't care who it is, whoever it is that you're like, this person is doing well, when you see somebody else doing really awesome, like it appears they are kicking butt and taking names, how do you guys react and how do you feel?
I like to support. Yeah.
Are you like awesome, or are you like secretly like, screw them, I would
Well, it depends on if I like the person or not.
Well, when I'm thinking about this, and if we're talking about comparison, if I'm definitely a person that's going to, think it's wonderful that they're doing so well, but there might be a comparison in there that, well, that's not the direction I want to go, or that's not my philosophy or something like that. So I think that's still a comparison that we're talking about, but not to deter from what they're experiencing, just to know myself better. I guess that's probably the comparison I'm talking about.
So, by the way, comparison, as far as I've read and I can tell, it is something that's important for us. It is something that we do from a very young age and on. It's something we compare. We use it as a tool to identify where we are excelling, what we are good at, what we aren't that good at. And I think, it's sort of built in. If you think about like with school, you get grades, right? Well, that's a really easy way for me to like compare with this person to this person. Well, they're getting A's, I'm getting C's, they're getting, and it is innately part of our nature, and it's not always a bad thing. I think where it becomes dangerous is when it starts to cause discontentment in our own lives, right? And it can be that's where the trap is, because that can be, it's the grass is always greener mentality, right? Where you're almost like the halo effect, where like you're always wanting more because what you have is never enough, because there's always somebody who's doing better. There's always, something you could be comparing, and you're never happy with truly what you have and who you are. And that's where it sort of gets dangerous, I would think, right?
I can think of a very specific and personal example to this, which, like, in regards to like my health, for example, went to the doctors recently and have a higher blood pressure than other people my age should be. I'm discontented by that fact, but I think it's a good thing that I'm discontented by that fact, because that led me to exercise more, change my diet, cut out caffeine. And after measuring, that I'm in a normal heart range where I am comparing myself to the norm of society, but that's not a bad thing. It's good for my health. And it feels good knowing that because I was discontented, I made a change to be better. And I guess I'm putting my assumptions in there that it's better to have a lower heart rate, but in my specific scenario, that was the case. And sometimes it is good to be discontented with whatever currently is going on, because it might be the wake-up call you need to make changes in your life that are necessary. But if for like, that's a very quantitative thing that I'm comparing, and it's also, I'm comparing myself to like a general population. There's no one person I'm looking at and being like, I want to be just like them, and I'm not happy until I'm just like them. That might be where discontent is a bad thing, and if that's what's driving you, you might not ever end up being happy. Like Brooke said, the grass is always greener.
So I kind of hear flow in this, right? The authentic flow of what is a motivating factor.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a place where it isn't, and it's used to manipulate yourself, that doesn't sound like it's a good way to interact and be part of. But when you're saying in that comparison, recognizing the needs that you had in that moment and where you truly wanted to be, that comparison really motivated you to do something different.